gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My 2 Cents Podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode 236 of the podcast. And first things first, I would like to welcome everyone to the podcast. And I would like to ask every single one of you, how are you guys doing? I'm hoping everybody's week was good to great to awesome. I'm hoping that people's week wasn't terrible. If it was, I feel sorry for you, and I'm hoping that this upcoming week will be better than the last. And if your week was good, great, awesome, I'm hoping that it keeps up with the momentum, and I hope that nothing besmirches that, if you will. And I just want to say this, I want everyone to please stay hydrated. It is starting to, no, not even starting. It's been hot, and I just don't want people to fall out over heat disruption of the body. Not a lot of people take care of themselves that much. Not a lot of people really focus in on their intake of water, if you will. Not a lot of people really do that. So I would like for people to please take in as much water as you can, as much water as your body needs. Please do not overfill yourself, because that could lead to some disastrous situations. And also, please do not stress yourself out. Please don't do that, because stress leads to a lot of unforeseen circumstances in life. Certain people are going through mental problems right now. Certain people go through physical issues, and they put a lot of stress on themselves. And I don't think people understand or know the importance of stress, or know the importance of how much stress can truly affect you. Please do not stress over things that are not that important, if you will. Only take in the stress that you know that you can actually deal with, aka if you have a problem and you know that problem is stressing you out, take care of said problem that you know you can take care of. Do not try to overextend yourself over something that you cannot, that you can't fix, because it's not going to do anything for you to keep stressing yourself out. As I said, it's just going to lead to some real unforeseen incidences. So please, once again, take care of what you can take care of this week. Do not stress yourself out. I know that was one of my problems this past week. I had a lawnmower incident. It always seems there's always lawnmower problems for me in the summertime. Last year, I had the exact same problem with my lawnmower. This year was different. Tried to start it up. Didn't want to start. Changed the oil. Didn't want to work. My father changed the spark plugs. Didn't want to work. Looked at the battery. Battery was fine. Had to take it up to a lawnmower repair place. He told me that it might be the fuse. It might have blew out. And he told me that I could just look at it myself without it being inexpensive. Because if you leave it there at a place, they charge you. And at this particular place, if we would have left it there, it would have been $60. $60 for looking at a lawnmower and diagnosing it and fixing it. And it was the spark plug, not the spark plug, the fuse, if you will. And it was real inexpensive, basically, to fix. You just pay what? I paid $6 for a pack of 5 fuses. And now, whenever this fuse blows out, I have 4 more to basically replace it with. So when you do the math, that's 5 take away from 60 or even more, because the whole labor would have been with that. I saved a lot of money, basically, by just listening to his suggestion that it might be the fuse. So again, that was one thing of stress of mine, because I had to cut my yard, and I used it with a weed whacker. And ladies and gentlemen, on a hot day, weed whacking your yard, is not the best thing for you to do. I'm kind of hard-headed in that manner, and I always use the saying, as I was weed whacking, I ain't no chump, I'm not a quitter, as I was weed whacking, and I know that my body was feeling a certain type of way. As I said, it was hot. you know when your body is feeling some type of way and it's kind of telling you to, yo, you probably need to sit down, yo, you probably need to relax a little bit. I was pushing it every which way that I can, and I did. There would be times I would have to stop and take in some water, come inside, grab a bottle of water. I think it was a total of probably like 3 times I did that. At the third one, I literally sat on the ground outside and underneath the shade. And if you know me, you know that that is a real, that's something I don't do. I don't like being outside. Outside sucks to me because of bugs and insects. I hate it. I kill every bug, every insect that I do come in contact with. My motto is whenever I'm outside, their environment becomes mine now because I'm out there and I just hate bugs. Anyway, me sitting on the ground outside under the shade, it was something different. I was just too tired at that point. But again, I always just say that motto: I ain't no quitter, I ain't no chump. And usually a lawnmower ride, clipping my yard usually takes about what? An hour, possible. I'll say about an hour, just to cut my front yard, backyard, and then to weed whack probably take about 30 minutes, about a total hour 30 for a traditional grass cutting with a lawnmower. With a weed whacker, this one took me, I'll say roughly 6-7 hours. And again, I say this to you again, it was on a hot day. Started out early in the morning, right around 7 o'clock, where the sun isn't really too beaming on you, where you at least get a breeze on you, and it's about a good 75 degrees. And then as soon as the afternoon starts hitting, about 12, it's going to start hitting the sun beaming down on you. Probably not just 12. I'll say probably start about 10:30, 11-ish. And again, I ended 2:20. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was a hot thing. But again, I digress on all that. Now I have my lawnmower fixed. I won't have to go through that crap again. And that was just something I was stressing out over in my head, but I didn't want to really focus on it too much because I know how my brain gets. But long story less long, I don't want you guys to stress. And just like I did, take care of the problem that you know you can take care of, and don't stress over it so much. Only stress over things, take care of things that you can take care of. Don't stress over things that you can't take care of. That's what I'm trying to get at with this. And also stay hydrated, because again, it is hot out here. So please take care of yourself in that regards there. Now, with me getting off all that, now it's time for me to move on to your National Food Days of the Week. Today being July the 13th is French Fries Day. July 14th will be Grand Marina Day, or Marina Day, however you want to pronounce that. July 15th will be Orange Chicken Day. July 16th will be Fresh Spinach Day, as well as Corn Fritter Day. Also, Ice Cream Day. July 17th is Peach Ice Cream Day. July 18th is Caviar Day. And to round us out, July 19th is Daiquiri Day. So please drink responsibly on that day. And I forgot to mention, July is the month of ice cream. It is National Ice Cream Month. Please eat ice cream, but eat it under the conditions where you won't eat it in a whole abundance. When it's a hot day, you want to try to keep yourself cold. I don't want to need people to just start eating a whole big thing of it just because you need to cool yourself down. Eat it whenever you're inside and you're actually just relaxed. And again, please eat that in moderation too, because I don't want people to end up with some type of diabetic situation because they ate too much ice cream. And people might say, that doesn't happen to people. Yeah, it does. Because you got to anticipate the sugar, the cream, all that type of stuff. It plays a factor. So please, once again, eat ice cream responsibly. And please, whenever it comes down to Daiquiri Day, which is July 19th, please drink responsibly on that day as well. And that concludes your National Food Days of the Week. Now, with that out the way, it is now time for me to move on to the condolences part of the show. The first condolence I do have to talk about comes from Deadline. They will talk about the voice actor James Cathcart. He passed away at the age of 71. This was a voice actor. He is credited for being the voice of different people in the Pokémon franchise. Also for being a voice actor in the TV Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and also being credited for a plethora of other things. They will say that he died July 8th of throat cancer at Calvary Hospital in New York City. His death was announced in a Facebook post by his wife. She would say, "Thanks to all of Jimmy's fans over the years. Giving you joy was why he worked so hard on his craft. Please know how much he appreciated you." As I said, he would have a plethora of voice acting credits. As I said, in the Pokémon projects, more than 700 episodes, 15 movies, and numerous games. He was also voice acting in Sonic X, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and the Three Musketeers, and other things as well. So, having said that, once again, rest in peace to Mr. James Carter Cathcart, and I would like to give my condolences to his family, friends, co-workers, and fans. So, moving off of that condolences, I would like to give condolences to a Arizona physical therapist who was killed in his hyperbaric chamber, which caught on fire while he was inside. The Independent would write about it. He would die in his office. The doctor was Dr. Walter Foxcroft. He was 43. He was found dead on Wednesday after firefighters responded to reports of a fire in his office. The flames was caused by a flash fire, the Lake Havasu City Fire Department said in a statement. Emergency responders pulled Foxcroft's body from the chamber and pronounced him dead at the scene. He was the only person injured. They are investigating the cause right now. They will give a saying that hyperbaric chambers are used to get more oxygen to tissues damaged by disease or injury, according to the Mayo Clinic. The chamber is pressurized 2 to 3 times higher than normal air pressure to help the lungs gather more oxygen. So I don't know how that type of thing work. I just know that if your body got caught on fire, that is a real crappy way to go. And just to be burning alive as you're in a machine that's supposed to help you out, again, that has to suck. And again, they are investigating it, but I would again like to give my condolences to this doctor here, and also to his employees, his staff, and people in the medical facility or medical community, because again, the medical community is a real serious thing. You guys are helping people. Some of you are supposed to, some of you might not be, but for the doctors that are helping people out and they actually do practice what they preach, I know sometimes it can be real dangerous, just like this doctor right here, him passing away in one of his chambers. Again, that just doesn't seem right to me. But yeah, please be careful. That's all I can say to any doctor out there in any medical office and in any practice. Please just be careful with any equipment, especially machines of yours. And again, just rest in peace to Dr. Walter Foxcroft. And again, just want to send my condolences to everyone that knew the man, and also to his co-workers, employees, staff, all that type of stuff. Now, moving off of this condolence, on to the next condolence that I do have to give is to a McDonald's manager who was stabbed to death by a co-worker over an argument. The Independent would write about this. They would say a McDonald's manager was stabbed to death by a co-worker after an argument between the pair at a Detroit restaurant. Jennifer Harris, 39, a mother of 6, had worked at the McDonald's location for the past 15 years. Last week, after clocking in for work, she was forced to ask a colleague to leave following an argument between the two of them. The disgruntled employee went home and came back to the restaurant armed with a kitchen knife. In the article, it would proceed to say that she proceeded to stab Harris multiple times just before 8 a.m. The 26-year-old suspect tried to escape from the restaurant after the attack, but a customer with a gun fired a warning shot in the air and detained the suspect at gunpoint until the police arrived, officials added. Harris was rushed to a local hospital where she died from injuries. A witness at the drive-thru said the suspect had returned wearing a mask and her hands were the only visible part of the body. She started stabbing her, and I ran for help and basically asked everybody, like, help, help, or whatever, the witness told Fox News. I tried to stop her. It was no stopping her. She stabbed her everywhere. Harris's older daughter said things had been amicable between the employee and her manager before they attacked. The police department lieutenant, Alex Holish, said the incident was unexplainable, saying that verbal disputes happen every day. Verbal disputes happen, and they can mediate or talk to management later and try to settle the disputes like adults. No dispute should ever result in violence, especially a homicide, the lieutenant would say. Let me say this right now. First and foremost, let's start off by giving condolence to this woman, Miss Jennifer Harris. I feel that anyone in any type of work environment, any type of environment, whether it's an office space or a fast food joint or any type of job, I feel that no job should ever come to physicality, especially when it starts over words. I think if somebody comes in and just decks you in the face, I think you can start getting busy right then and there. But if it's starting over you arguing with someone, I don't think it should escalate to violence then and there. Now, there is a point where people will hear that and say, that is not how reality works. That's an idealistic thing I just said. In reality, somebody saying something could lead to someone getting punched in the mouth. In reality, someone doing something at the job could lead to someone getting hurt at said job, especially with how many times someone says something to someone or someone being disrespectful to someone at the job. Things can turn a very nasty situation. Things can turn very, very evil. And to further back up what I'm saying here, there was a video that my mom sent me, and I don't know if you guys seen it. It was of a Marriott hotel. It's like one of those hotels that have like the breakfast bars that they set up for you if you stay there. Well, there was a worker who happens to walk back into the hotel, and she goes up to the breakfast bar and she just starts flinging all the breakfast items that was laid out there. And someone will put up like a postage about what happened between the manager and that employee. Ultimately, and I'm just paraphrasing this because I don't have this in front of me, what happened between the manager and that employee was that employee stocked up the breakfast bar, right? And the manager happened to say something to that employee and ultimately told her that she's basically fired. So she ends up getting into an argument with that manager even after the whole firing. She ends up leaving. She ends up coming back saying that she forgot her phone. And in the process, she goes over to the breakfast bar and just start throwing all that stuff because she was the one that put the breakfast bar out, put all the food out, and nobody's going to eat off the stuff that I put out there, and I just got fired. Again, that's me paraphrasing it. I don't have it in front of me, but I do remember the gist of it. And again, people do things after having arguments with either a manager or someone that just might have a little notch above you in a position, but it's all in the way of how you talk to people. I think people forget that. And again, I don't know how this McDonald manager talked to her coworker. I don't know how she talked to her. I'm not even going to try to speculate that. But I think people got to realize when you are speaking to someone, whether you're in a position of power or you're in the exact same position as them, you're even eye-to-eye coworker, I don't think you should be talking reckless to someone. I don't think that you should be just speaking out of your mouth crazy to someone. If it starts out respectful, I think that the conversation will end respectful. I think if it starts out respectful and someone starts getting crazy, I think it could turn crazy, obviously, because that's how human beings are. Once someone starts getting crazy upon you, you either can hold yourself back or you just match their momentum right then and there. And again, man, I just think that people need to realize that people are people and times are truly changing, and people's patience is really thinning out. And again, I don't ever want things to happen to people. I feel that this right here, Miss Harris should still be living. I think that this could have been avoided if Miss Harris didn't speak to that employee and probably spoke to another employee and told that one to say, hey, tell her to go home or something like that, or something else. Like, there's probably some other ways that this situation could have been handled without someone dying here and someone ultimately going to jail for death. And I just want people to know, once again, that we should give condolences to Miss Harris. That's one. And also, two, I just want people to also understand that if you are in a position of power, please speak to people that might be under you, quote unquote, or people that's as your peer in the said workplace. Please speak with them with some respect. Please speak to them with a level of respect. Please speak with them with just some calm decency. Because again, things can turn real left real quick, and I don't think nobody wants that. I know I don't, and I don't want to see any more articles like this. So again, please just speak with people with respect, and again, just try to be kind to anybody. Because again, everybody can have an off day. People can just be off their game one day, and if you speak to them crazy, they're not going to forget that, and things can end wrong. All right. But again, rest in peace to Miss Jennifer Harris, and I do feel sorry for her children, because her kids now have lost a mother, and that sucks. I am not in that position. I don't know how it feels to lose a parent. I still have both of mine. I just know that whenever I speak to my mother, she talks about how losing her mom was real devastating, and yeah, for just the kids, I feel sorry for them. I really do. I feel sorry for them, and hopefully they can hopefully they have someone that will be backing them and that will take care of them. That's what I am hoping for these 6 kids. So again, I wish all the best for everybody out there in this situation, and that's all I got for this, to be completely honest with you. Now, with all the condolences out of the way, I do want people to please send your prayers to Randy Couture. He's a former MMA fighter, UFC legend. He was in a crash at a stock cart track earlier this week. He was airlifted to a burn center in Kansas City area on Tuesday. USA Today would report. They would say he is expected to make a full recovery. His spokesperson told MMA Junkie he was preparing to make his national hot rod debut this year. But at the time right now, they have no idea what actually caused the crash. But they say Randy Couture suffered first and second degree burns and other trauma-related injuries and smoke inhalation. So just send some prayers over to him and just make sure that he's okay. That's all I would like to ask everybody right now as well, because again, this could have ended real tragic, especially when you think about the soccer player that happened to pass away last week as well. So again, I want people in the sporting field to please be careful when you are driving these vehicles, because again, I don't think anybody wants to read a paper, especially if you are a MMA fan, about Randy Couture, Captain America, quote unquote, if you will, having passed away in a crash at a racetrack. I don't think nobody in the MMA world would have loved that at all. So again, just anybody in the sporting world, once again, please just be prepared. Please be careful, and please look after yourself with driving. That's all I can say to anybody right now. So with that, now it's time for me to move off of that and get into some of your headline news that happened this week. And to be completely honest with you guys, not a lot really happened this week. I mean, you already saw, if you haven't seen the episode description, you already see some of the topics I'm going to be talking about, but not a lot really happened this week. It was all more about, again, the continuing of ICE and Trump, which you're going to hear me talk about now. So I got to give out this little PSA or warning before I do talk about it. Anything that I say that requires political is coming from the mind of G2. This is not a Democratic or Republican guy. I am not that. I am my own mind. I am my own thinker. I have no political allegiance to any political party. I don't. So just want to get that out the way before I start talking quote unquote political news to everyone. And again, the reason why I do this is because we do need to know what's going on out here in the world. A lot of people don't pay attention to the news because guess what? We're all just trying to survive every single day. That's the best that we can do. And again, I just want people to be knowledgeable or at least know what's going on out there right now. So the first thing I do want to discuss or make known to you guys is the State Department has started firing more than 1,300 workers in Trump's shakeup of diplomatic. This was reported by Reuters. They will say that the State Department began firing more than 1,350 U.S.-based employees on Friday as the administration of President Donald Trump pressed ahead with an unprecedented overhaul of its diplomatic corps, a move critics say will undermine U.S. ability to defend and promote U.S. interests abroad. The layoffs will cover 1,107 civil service and 246 foreign service officers based in the United States, according to an internal State Department notice sent to the workforce and seen by Reuters. They would say that the department is streamlining domestic operations to focus on diplomatic priorities, the notice said. Headcount reduces have been carefully tailored to affect non-core functions, duplicative or redundant offices, and offices where considerable efficiencies may be found, it added. The total reduction in the workforce will be around 3,000, including the voluntary departures out of the 18,000 employees based in the United States, according to the notice and a senior State Department official. The move is the first step of restructuring that Trump has sought to ensure U.S. foreign policy is aligned with his America First agenda. Former diplomats and critics say the firing of foreign service officers risk America's ability to counter the growing assertiveness from adversaries such as China and Russia. All right, there you go, dude. I don't know what more needs to be said to you guys here. People aren't liking this. People aren't liking the shakeups. I've said this mad multiple times. I don't know how many times I got to say this to you guys. We are in a different time. We are in a different regime. He is doing things way different than what he did the first time this is go around here. And if you have people critiquing your firing of foreign service officers, that's a problem. I think sometimes if the will isn't broken, you shouldn't try to touch it. I think that what's going on right now, at least we've seen too many people make mention of the situations that's going down with America right now. We are in situations with different countries where we need to have our people over there just on standby, as we've had in previous administrations in previous years. Now, again, he's supposed to be cutting back on people based in other situations. I just don't like it. I don't, bro. I hope that we don't have any type of situations hitting American land, and I'm talking about people from other countries. I mean, like top people, like top, whether it be prime ministers or top officials from other countries come down over here in the United States, talk to Trump, and with us as the American people talking out loud from our news stations about what's going down so far over here. And they're seeing that we're pulling people away from other countries. I hope that they don't get the idea that to say, yo, the Americans, they're moving out of this country, we can go over that country, take over now, or do something over there. Or we could try to maybe start gathering our allies up and doing something detrimental to the Americans or whoever the Americans support. Because again, I just don't want that. I don't want America to go into a war. I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. But again, we're in this new time with this former president who was president once again. And again, he's doing things way different than he did the first time go around. And I'll say it constantly. And I just want people to know what's going down so far. So please, again, look into those type of situations and look into what's going on. Matter of fact, Democratic Senator Tom Kaine said in a statement, President Trump and Secretary of State Rubio are once again making America less safe and less secure. He will say this is one of the most ridiculous decisions that could possibly be made at a time when China is increasing its diplomatic footprint around the world and establishing an overseas network of military and transportation bases. Russia is continuing its year-long brutal assault of a sovereign country, and the Middle East is careening from crisis to crisis. See, we already have problems there. And imagine, again, we already have the usual thing is we get top officials from other countries to come over to talk to our top officials over here. And imagine, they come over here, they read our press, they read what's going down, they see what's going down, and they see the changes that we're making to move from other places or slowly start taking our people out from other places. Things can change, and with that happening, things will start to get real spooky and real shaky. And again, I don't want that to happen. I don't want none of that to happen to us over here as the Americans. But again, I don't know what's going to happen. Whenever the time comes, we shall see. And again, right now, this is all about my pay grade, but I do want people to know what's happening right now with our top government officials, at least with this decision right here. So again, please be safe, please be careful. And if you got people in those top positions, ask them what's going on. I don't care whether they're Republican, Democrat, somebody's going to say something, and try to read through some of the tea leaves, because certain people in the Republican Party, they will try to, not going to say stonewall you, but they won't tell you the whole full thing was going down, but they'll try to give you a little nugget. So you got to read through what they're saying. So please do that if you have people in office, because you never ever know what type of people has people in offices that that'll tell you something. But again, just call up and just pay attention. That's all I can say to everybody right now. Continuing on, what's going on over here? We're still continuing on with ICE. ABC News, we'll talk about how federal agents clashed with protesters during ICE raid at a Southern California farm. They will say federal agents clashed with protesters during an immigration raid at a farm in Southern California, one of at least two large-scale raids in the region on Thursday. The incident occurred outside of an agricultural farm along Laguna Road of Ventura County. In a statement to ABC News on Thursday, a Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said the farm was a marijuana facility DHS law enforcement is executing a warrant at a marijuana facility. Our brave officers will continue to enforce the law, the spokesperson said. ABC News Los Angeles station observed several clashes between onlookers or protesters and federal agents, with at least one person being detained. Footage from the clashes saw federal agents pinning someone to the ground. Federal agents who were masked during the clashes appear to use crowd control measures, including deploying irritants. And I think they're talking about like, what do I like to call them there? Not just a gas mask, but like the little pipe bombs or things to make people evacuate, like those type of things. I believe that's what they're talking about. They say the governor of California, Gavin Newsom's office, released a statement on the immigration enforcement, calling it inhumane. There's a real cost to inhumane immigration actions on hardworking families and communities, including farm worker communities across America. His office would continue to say that the Trump administration tactics invoke chaos, fear, and terror within our communities at every turn. Yeah, who would have guessed? Another article from the Associated Press will say authorities say about 200 immigrants were arrested in the two raids in the Southern California farms. They say federal immigration said Friday that they arrested about 200 immigrants suspected of being in the country illegally in raids earlier on the two California cannabis farm sites. Protesters engaged in a tense standoff with authorities during the operation at one of the farms. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that authorities executed search warrants on Thursday. They arrested immigrants suspected of being in the country illegally, and there were also at least 10 immigrant children on the site, the statement said. 4 U.S. citizens were arrested for assaulting or restraining officers, the department said. Authorities were offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of one person suspected of firing a gun at federal agents. One worker who called family to say he was hiding from authorities was on life support after falling and suffering significant injuries. During the raids, crowds of people gathered outside Glass House Farms in Camarillo to seek information about their relatives and protest immigration enforcement. Authorities clad in military-style helmets and uniforms faced off with the demonstrators. They would let off green and white bellowing smoke that forced community members to retreat. Now, a licensed California cannabis grower from Glass House said in a statement that immigration agents had valid warrants. The company said workers were detained and it is helping provide them with legal representation. The farm also grows tomatoes and cucumbers. They will put out a statement saying that Glass House has never knowingly violated applicable hiring practices and has never employed minors. So, listen, dude, I'm not here to judge any farmers or anybody like that, because guess what, dude? Farmers are going to hire people, legal, illegal, it doesn't matter. They care about getting their products out of the ground or out of wherever they are growing them from. They don't care about none of that as long as they get their products out of there, okay? So they can sell it. I can't rock with it. Going to farms are like the easiest thing for ICE. That's like one of the spots that I expect ICE to be going to whenever they're looking for people that are illegal. Also, I expect them to go to construction sites. If you know the little, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, because what do they like to call this thing? Stereotypes. Whenever you think of an illegal, quote unquote, working in America, you always think either the farms, or you think either construction sites, or you think any other blue collar type job, because again, television, movies would dictate all these exact jobs where these people would work at, because this or these jobs are some of the jobs where, hey man, things got to get done. And not too many people are going to be asking too many questions about this and that. They just want to get the job done. They just want to get whatever they got to get done. And again, I don't mean to stereotype. I don't mean to say that in a bad way. But television movies show you stuff that's happening out here. Now, some of the stuff could be fabricated, but I'll say a good 9 to 1 that it's not fabricated, because some of their stuff got to come from somewhere. So some of the times people be seeing what they write what they see, and then they portray it on the screen. But yeah, man, I just can never be too keen with ICE. I just can't be. And I'll get more into the reason on that too in a minute. But I want to read you something here, because the federal judge has seemingly put out an order to stop indiscriminate immigration raids in Los Angeles. NPR will put out an article saying that a federal judge orders stop to indiscriminate immigration raids in Los Angeles. This happened this week, to my understanding. They said a federal judge in Los Angeles ordered the Trump administration to stop carrying out immigration sweeps in which she said federal agents have been indiscriminately arresting people across Southern California without reasonable suspicion that they're in the country illegally. In her order, Judge Ma'am Frumpong, I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. If I'm saying it wrong, I duly apologize. Of the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California said there is a mountain of evidence to support the claim that agents are arresting people solely based on their race, accents, or the work they're engaged in violation of the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable government seizure. The judge would write, the seizures at issue occurred unlawfully. She issued 2 temporary restraining orders, one prohibiting immigration agents from arresting people without reasonable suspicion that they're in the country illegally, and the other requesting agents to give people they arrest immediate access to lawyers. The orders, which apply to Los Angeles and 6 surrounding counties, are temporary while the case moves forward, but they could also severely restrict the Trump administration's ability to continue carrying out the raids that have sown fear and terror in immigration and Latino neighborhoods since they started on June 6th. So right now there seems to be at least some type of stoppage, or at least they're trying to stop ICE from just automatically just arresting people just off of the accents, all that. You got to have some type of warrant. You got to have some type of something to be stopping someone. I'm not mad at that, because again, it is what it is. If there's a warrant out there, it's a warrant. What more can you say about that? But if you're just arresting someone because of what they look like, because of their accent, that's never okay. That's just typical stereotyping, and that's not cool. It's not cool at all. Black people, we get that a lot whenever something supposedly is happening and they're looking for someone. If you're driving a nice car, again, movies and television, and also, I'm not going to say my own personal experience, but my parents' personal experience, that I've been in the car with them when this happened, and this was a long time ago when I was a child. A police officer pulled my mother over and said that there was some type of car that was driving around, and supposedly my mom's driving the car that they're looking for, and they were just stereotyping my mom because she was driving a nice car. And boy, did my mom start laying into this officer. And I ain't gonna hold you, I'm good at speaking. I'm good at speaking my mind whenever it's time for me to really get down to it. I only stop like what I'm doing right now, like the whole stoppage, whenever I'm doing this by myself on this. But whenever I'm in front of someone and I actually gotta have a talk and all that, I'm free flowing, and I'm able to constantly just speak. But whenever it's authority, I kind of startle up a little bit and kind of tense up just a little. My mom, she never does. I mean, it just feels like she gets more emboldened and it just pisses her off way more. And I mean, she let it rings off, dude. And it's always amazes me because she knows what could happen to her. And it seems like she's just like, okay, cool, I hear you. But no, you guys are an idiot. You guys didn't do this. You guys didn't do that. Or my mom is just going to straight up tell you, no, you're an idiot about your job. You're not doing what you're doing wrong, all this type of stuff. I mean, my Lord. I will always be in amazement with her when she does this. I'm not gonna lie to no one. But stereotyping someone, because that's what that cop did to my mother. Stereotyping her, it's not fun, it's not nice, it's not good. And for this judge to put it now, having restraining orders from ICE, from doing that to people who might be illegal, quote unquote, I'm happy that happened. You got to get them whenever there is a warrant out for them. That's the only way you can get them. And I'm not mad at it because that's the way it should work in the law. If there's a warrant out for you, guess what? You got to be more trickier than that. You got to be more discreet than what you are. Because if you're not, you could easily get caught up. Just like my dude right now. Homeboy from Louisiana. He's the last one of the guys that are still out there. He's just constantly ducking and dodging the police right now. They're still looking for him, but he's just out there still doing what he's doing. And they have a warrant for him. If they happen to grab someone that might look like homeboy, and I mean that really looks like him, I don't think no one can be like saying like, oh no, what are you doing? He doesn't look like him. But if he really looks like homeboy, like, come on, what? I mean, just take the burnt as a police officer and show the photo to the news agency whenever this does pop up and say, no, this is what homeboy looked like, and this is the photo that we have at home, dude. And if they look the same, guess what? Let the audience make that decision. Let the audience see it and say, you know what, he does look like him. I don't fault the officers this time about it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm glad that this happened. I'm hoping that ICE will stop just picking people up for no reason at all. Because again, for you to just kick people out of this country, which belongs to only the actual Americans, which are the quote unquote Native Americans. Everybody else here, we are all technically immigrants here. For you to be grabbing someone and trying to get them out of here, that's just crazy. That's ludicrous. That is craziness to me. And speaking of that, by the way, get into Donald Trump. I do have to say this. He is really wilding on this. And if you remember what I said about the whole birthright citizenship, dog, we are about to get into some real crazy territories here. Because I want to read you something right here. This coming from Variety. They said Donald Trump is giving serious consideration to revoking Rosie O'Donnell's U.S. citizenship. She is a threat to humanity. In an early morning post to Truth Social on Saturday, President Donald Trump threatened to revoke American citizenship of his longtime critic, Rosie O'Donnell. He will say, because of the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of our great country, I am giving serious consideration to take away her citizenship, Trump wrote. She is a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland. If they want her, God bless America. Now, that's what Donald Trump had to say on his Truth Social post. And Rosie O'Donnell, she took to Instagram later to issue a response. She would write, the president of the USA has always hated the fact that I see him for who he is, a criminal con man, sexual abusing liar, out to harm our nation to serve himself. This is why I moved to Ireland. He is a dangerous, old, soulless man with dementia who lacks empathy, compassion, and basic humanity. I stand in direct opposition. All he represents, so do millions of others. You gonna deport all who stand against your evil tendencies. You're a bad joke. who can't form a coherent sentence. So that's what Rosie O'Donnell would issue back to Donald Trump. Now, just for people to give context here, I don't know if Trump can take away her citizenship. Now, I'm not certain if Rosie O'Donnell was born in a different country or not, but if she was, then we can possibly say something, but I don't think she was. I think Rosie O'Donnell is literally from America, and yeah, she was born in New York. So I'm not certain how that's supposed to go. What her mom and dad were from somewhere else, something. That's the only way I can see that being a thing. But like, dog, you're not taking away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship just because she's been on your neck for many years. Dog, we got to get over this. We really got to. And I told you it was going to be a slippery slope if that whole born birthright citizenship can be stripped away from people. Because, dog, you really about to start doing that to a lot of folks. Because if you do that to Rosie O'Donnell, you might do that to someone else. And not going to say you might, you will do that to someone else. And people are really going to start looking at you like, oh, so Mans was really serious. He was really about that. Taking away people's abilities to live here in the States and take away all that type of stuff. Yes, Trump is really about that if he's put that out there saying he's considering it. Now, people could say that's just a scare tactic, but I don't care if it's a scare tactic or not. That's nasty. That's nasty to put it out there. That's nasty in every shape or form, my people. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Just looking at it, her father was born in England, while the mother was born in the U.S. So, I mean, you could say 50-50, but like, come on, get out of here. Like, get out. She's an American citizen, dude. There's no way you can do any of this stupid mess. So, again, for this to happen and for him to say that he's considering it, it's nasty work, 1. 2, if he happens to pull Rosie O'Donnell's, U.S. citizenship, again, if she does have citizenship here in the U.S., that's going to be just completely disgusting. I don't like it. I don't like the thought of it because, again, this is a slippery slope because then a lot of people are going to have to really mind their tongue about what they say about the president. And, again, you're over here in the States. United States, you should be able to say what you want to say about the president unless you talk about doing physical harm to the president. That's the only time where I think, and I think a lot of people can technically agree with it, with someone saying, yo, you can't say that, because if you do, they're going to come around and grab you and kind of do something to you because you're talking about issuing physical harm to the president, you know what I mean? But if you're just criticizing their policies, criticizing who they are as a person and all of that without saying it or issuing physical harm, I don't think you should be looked at like that. And I don't think they should be posting out there that he's thinking about removing your citizenship. That's not cool. That's not right. That's just straight up nasty and ugly. And you know what? There should be a limit. I've said this before, and I know other people have said this before, and I want to firmly stand 10 toes in this one. There should be an age limit for when you become president of the United States. There should be, dude. There should be no one in their 60s, 70s, 80s to be United States president. The latest that you can be is probably about 55, in my personal opinion, to be the president of the United States. Once you pass 55, you shouldn't be the president of the United States no more because you get jaded, you get wanting to start turning things into no. I'm just gonna be blunt with it. No. Someone 55 should not be running or being the president of the United States. Someone 60 shouldn't be, 70, 80 shouldn't be the president of the United States. This should be a young person's game, if not a young person in their 20s, 80s, 40s. It should be around that time of face for politics. That's the way I see it, but hopefully that does change. And again, it's a slippery slope because if he does take Rosie O'Donnell's quote-unquote U.S. citizenship, Let's see where else he's going to go with this, because I see it turning extremely bad for a lot of people. Just a lot of people. Moving off of that, I only got one more technically thing to talk about, really, and it's more on the music side. If you listen to my midweek breakdown episodes for the last, I would say, 2 weeks, I've been talking about the Clipse, which is Pusha T and his brother Malice album that was coming out, and it came out this past Friday. The album's titled Let God Sort 'Em Out. I listened to the album, and the album's great. The album is great. For me, the standout records on it are obviously So Be It. Ace Trumpets is cool. Chains and Whips featuring Kendrick Lamar is cool. I like MTB TTF. I like that one. That's track 7 on the album. But for me, the one that's the real star-making song on this album, to me, again, if it's not So Be It, it's going to be The Birds Don't Sing. And that's the first song of the album. It's literally when you turn it on. That's featuring John Legend and Voices of Fire. I played that song technically a year ago, but that was when the audio wasn't so clean. That's whenever someone just like grabbed it from the I want to say it was Louis Vuitton walk that they did last year. But yeah, I like that song a lot. That's a song about Pusha T and Malice, their parents who they lost. And I feel that if you should listen to that. You don't have to listen to the whole album, but just listen to that song right there, and I think you will feel sentimental about it. Especially if you have your mom and dad in your life still. Listen to that, and you can hear two people just give a descript setting and feeling of what it's like to lose a mother and father. And for people that lost their mom and dad who can't figure out a way how to cope with it, I think listening to that will help you. Not going to say cope, but it will help you in your feelings of losing your mom and dad, if you will. You know what I mean? But again, Let God Sort 'Em Out. The Clipse album is a great album. And more than likely on the upcoming episodes, I probably will be playing some of these songs on as the song of the week. I know probably this week I will be playing track 7, more than likely. But yeah. Go check the album out. If you don't like cursing, I think, again, the first one, The Birds Don't Sing, I don't believe it has any cursing in it, so you can go listen to that one. But all the other ones is loosey-goosey, okay? But, yeah. I hope everyone does enjoy the album. I hope everyone does tune into it if rap's your thing. But if not, I solely give the stamp on The Birds Don't Sing. You do need to listen to that. All right? I think that's everything I do want to talk to you about. So, with that stated, it is now time for me to get you guys out of here. I would like to thank all the podcasting sites that have me up here, whether it be Apple, Amazon, Podbean, Spotify, iHeart, all the other podcasting sites, because without them, I want to be able to get this podcast out to you guys, downloaders and listeners. I would like to thank them. But also, I'd like to thank you guys, the downloaders and listeners, because without you guys, I'll just be one guy talking into a mic, into a void. And I know that's not the case because I see where the downloads are coming from. I see all the other countries and states that download the episodes, and I do appreciate you guys, whether you listen to it in your car, in your headphones, in the background. I appreciate you guys just listening to me talk about some news topics that have been going on and any other things from any other episodes. I do appreciate you guys for that. So with that stated, always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
I do love you all. This is not a gimmick. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope everybody has a great and lovely week. Expect a wrestling episode tomorrow. It's going to be me covering all the wrestling events that happened this weekend. Yesterday was AEW's All In, as well as WWE's NXT's Great American Bash, as well as their Saturday night's main event. event that happened. And tonight, if you listen to this episode on Sunday, it will be their WWE Evolution, which is their all women's wrestling event. So you'll get a review from all 4 of those shows tomorrow. And this upcoming week, as per usual, you get a Wednesday episode out of me, Thursday episode out of me, Saturday and Sunday episode out of me as well. So that's the schedule for this upcoming week. So be ready for those episodes. And I believe that's everything. So with that, this has been the My 2 Cents Podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. He is I and I am him. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from this sweet sounding voice again. And ladies and gentlemen, please do not be a dick. Please be courteous to everyone that you do come in contact with, and try to be on your very best behavior. That's all I can ask of you, because you have no idea who's going to be watching you. You have no idea whose life can be changed by your niceties that you give them. You know what I mean? So again, just try to be nice, try to be calm, and just be respectful to everyone that you do come in contact with, all right? So with that stated again, I want everyone to have a great, lovely week. You'll hear from me soon. So with that said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.